Oh man, can the news slow down this week? But I love it anyway. So Mark Meyer did a Q&A with TFW. It dropped just a couple hours ago at the time of this recording. So I'm going to read everything and give you guys my thoughts on everything, as always. There's some things in here that I'm really hyped about, and there's a couple things here with the answers that I'm like, what? This is absolutely horrible. So let's start with it for Age of the Primes questions. Question here is, what's the feeling on Primus right now to go with HasLab Unicron in the 13? Is he more likely to be a HasLab or Titan if made? And the answer here is, I would love to make a Primus, especially with the Age of the Primes collection, as he is the guy that created them. I'm okay with Primus being a smaller robot than Unicron. For those of you that have noticed, I like my heroes to be outnumbered and outmatched, as I love an underdog story. I'd love to hear fans' preferences on this, so please share your thoughts on the boards. That makes sense, not really much to say there. Question here, will any of the other 13 Titans or Commanders be made? And then the answer here is, I kept the Age of the Primes on their intended scale. While the team chose Titan Star Convoy, my initial thought was a Voyager scaled God Prime, basically something to the effect of how the 13th Prime was the Arisen. But once we put together the whole collection, it was cool to hit every scale. Ultimately, having a variety of scales makes a great impact on the shelf. So that's pretty cool to hear. I didn't think anything of that, but that's pretty dope. And then another question here, what size class do you want Liege Maximo to be? And the answer is, I want Liege Maximo to be a leader bigger than Megatronus. He is probably the character I wanted the most out of all the primes, believe it or not. I've been staring at the G2 comic panel for what feels like decades, saying to myself, I need this guy next to an accurate G-axis. Despite the design challenge with his cables, I finished a deco on this beefy monster and hope everyone loves him as much as I do. And yeah, I'm really hyped for Liege Maximo. And then another question here, will Liege Maximo be based on the G2 design or Covenant? And answer is boom, answered already. So he's basically saying both, which I do like, even though I would prefer more so G2. I do like that they're mixing both designs because I do think both are really amazing. Another question here is AOTP still going to be a 2-year line? And if so, are you done with trilogies now? Answer is, I wouldn't say trilogies are off the table. There was a lot of discussion around how to best handle Age of the Primes as a whole. A trilogy was part of that discussion at one point. Ultimately, though, we chose to put the fan experience first, making sure collectors could complete all 13 primes over 2 years instead of stretching it to 3. So that's really cool. I do like that aspect that they're thinking about collectors and fans more in terms of the trilogy outline maybe being a bit tiring at this point. Another question here is, you said the primes have no retools planned, but could there be alternate versions of the characters themselves, i.e. Onyx with his IDW color scheme, Prima with his Covenant head, etc.? And the answer is, I don't recall saying that, but if fans speak up, why wouldn't we consider recolors or partials? I think it's clear that our team are just fans like you are. I know what it feels like to be in the, hey Hasbro, do this for me please group, so everything is always on the table. That's nice to hear. I do like some good recolors when done right. And then another question here is, Age of the Primes is focusing on the 13 primes, but could be eventually see new figs on the other, wow, there's a couple like typos here. See new figs of the other primes like Sentinel, Nova, Nominus, etc. Answer is, I think up front when we discussed the trilogy, we were planning on fitting in some other primes as we would have another year to bring those guys to the main line. Now that we are a 2-year program, it seems the exclusive slots have an opportunity for, say, a Logos or Sentinel Prime, which we do have listings for Sentinel. And then specific generations questions here. So another question, how would you differentiate Skybound toys from the usual G1 stuff? And the answer is, the thing about Skybound that really stands out from other comic lines in the past is the style. I'm a big proponent of a style and aesthetics always needing to be pushed, which would in turn give a unique look to our products. I would love to bring in all the dents and scratchy battle damage onto the actual sculpt detailing instead of doing them as Tampo Deco treatments. I think fans really liked the chinks and tears in the armor pieces on Thundertron, so that's what I would like to do. I really love that he wants to do more detail on these figures. I really do feel like they need it, and they're lacking for a lot of releases. I love that. Another question here is LUGNUT in consideration since he won the Hall of Fame, and if so, what size class would he be? And the answer is, my gut guides me. It tells me that leader scale LUGNUT would accomplish what's needed for the character. I mean, sure, you could argue a leader class is good, but in my mind, I just feel like Commander works the best for him nowadays. Commander class is basically old school leader class, and I do not want anything more for a properly scaled and well-engineered modern-day animated Lugnut. That's just how I feel. Another question here is, will there be more multi-packs like the Selects Autobot one with the cartoon decos? An answer, sure, why not? Sounds good to me, I wouldn't mind that. Are you interested in doing Super Megatron to go with Star Optimus? And the answer is, again, sure, why not? I love me some Megs. Makes sense, they always want to pair those two together when they do them. And then another question is it possible we could see more Commanders and Titans per year? Answer is, another answer I would love to hear from the fans. If they ask for it, I will try my best to deliver. Okay, so I wouldn't mind seeing more Commanders and Titans a year. We do need a lot of those bigger characters made faster because we're not getting any younger here, guys. I mean, it's just ridiculous waiting for some of these characters, so I wouldn't mind that. Another question here is, will Commanders mostly just be combiner torsos for the foreseeable future, or will there be other things? Answer is, I think you will be seeing 2 Commanders sooner than later to disprove that theory. Well, obviously, we just got those listings for 2 Commanders, so that's not too big of a deal. Another question is the intention to keep alternating the Titan/Commander factions each year? Answer is, since this is mostly an Autobots versus Decepticon brand, I think everyone expects to see the counterpart after we release, say, the Decepticon or Autobot version of that character from a certain series. We're always trying to give people what they ask for and want. After all, no Megatron to battle with Optimus isn't a world I'd like to ever live in. That makes sense. I mean, that's pretty obvious, judging by the patterns. That's what they do. Another question here is, was Star Optimus a success, and is the new Titan price point here to stay? And basically the answer there is they don't have the numbers in yet, but they would love to do more Titans like that and stuff. So not too big of a deal there. And another question, if you would have made the rest of the DJD, could you just change their all modes to get them through? And the answer is, I mean, I could, but I know how passionate fans are about accuracy. Keep sharing your thoughts. Yeah, I think if you change what makes the DJD themselves and who they are as characters, you're kind of ruining that. So I would rather them just not touch them at all instead of basically ruining what those characters are from IDW. Unless if they're different iterations of the characters not supposed to be from IDW, I wouldn't mind that. And then another question here they ask is, if you made TFA Omega Supreme, is he more likely to be a Titan or a HasLab? And he answers with, if I were to share my opinion, I would prefer Titan. I did have a plan for a partial off the arc somewhere, but I think it wouldn't be accurate enough to satisfy fans, so he would have to be all new. There was speculation, kind of rumors, that this was happening like a couple years ago, so it's interesting to see that kind of confirmed there. And then another question is there still interest in making updates of toy-only characters like Polar Claw, Banzai-tron, etc.? And he answers with, of course, just trying to make everything fit is the challenge. That makes sense. I mean, definitely supposed to be getting a Polar Claw at some point, I'd assume, since that figure was canceled a few years ago. Another question is, are there plans for the Beast Wars anniversary next year, and what would you most like to make? And he says, personally, I'd like to include some of the weirder, obscure Beast Wars guys like Injector, as well as some of the less obscure ones like Depth Charge, etc., so stay tuned. The Vac Metal Metallics are a challenge of production nowadays, still scratching my head on those. I mean, we've already gotten Transmetal characters that don't have the Vac Metal, so you might as well just keep going, and I would really love those obscure Beast Wars guys. Keep them coming. I love seeing those get released in the main line 25, 30 years later. It's so nice. Another question here is, could we see any kind of exclusive line for the Beast Wars anniversary? He says we will see, but we already have listings for stuff like that, so that's not really a surprise. Another question is it possible there could be a more accurate and in-scale RAD Scourge? And he answers with, I know the RAD characters are want, especially due to the success of Omega Prime. As I said up top, it's difficult fitting everything in together and then being able to put the story together on how they all interact with each other and make sense to the retailers. I don't see why a more accurate Scourge could happen. That would be really nice. I think that one that came out a few years ago was very lackluster and just a bad paint scheme altogether. Another question is, since a new Bruticus is happening, will he be repainted into Ruination? And the answer is, it seems like everyone wants it. So, I mean, it's definitely coming at some point in like a year or two, I'd say, as like a Gen Selects exclusive or some other sort of retailer exclusive. And then question here is, are you interested in doing a more accurate G2 Megs? He answers with, I love all Megatrons. I loved painting up that Tiger Stripe Megs and Selects. I don't know about this answer, but I would really love to see a G2 actual accurate Megatron that's not a crappy Siege repaint. That would be really nice. Another question here is, do you want to make Armada Jetfire? What size class would he be? He answers with, he would have to be Commander to be able to attach to Commander Armada Optimus we did. He would be pretty dope. I know Hasui-san wants him. Yeah, we have a lot of rumors for Armada Jetfire at this point, so it's only a matter of when and not if, which I'm really hyped for. Another question, are you interested in doing Beast Machines or Energon updates? He answers with, now, Machine Wars, let's talk. This is like a very cliche, older Transformers fan answer here. I mean, nothing against Mark. I think he's an amazing guy. This is great what he does interacting with fans, and the choices he's made the last few years with modern Transformers has been fantastic. I mean, you can't give a better answer with this. I mean, there's a ton of Beast Machines and Energon fans waiting for updates. I mean, look at all the third-party stuff we've been starting to get the last couple of years for Energon, and I'm not sure if there's anything for Beast Machines. There might have been. And technically, last year, you guys did do a Beast Machines character as a commander class, a $90 figure. So I'm not sure what this answer is, because we got Magmatron last year, Cheetor, was crappy, but we did get Energon, Galvatron, and Megatron. So I don't know about that, but hopefully we do get more of these characters from these cartoons at some point soon. Another question is, do you still want to do more mini-cons? How will they be released if so? Answers with, we are figuring it out. I will say you won't be disappointed. Rise up, Armada fans. So that definitely plays into the listing we got with the mini-cons a few days ago. And another question is TFP Terracon Zombie Cliffjumper something you're interested in doing? He answers, funny enough, I just pitched that myself. I really love how the new Prime Cliffjumper partialed off the Rescue Bot chase turned out. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this is like an exclusive at some point later down the line in like a couple of years or next year or something. Another question, could there be another Galvatron release with more paint/retooled parts? He answers with, that one satisfied my thirst. I wouldn't mind a deluxe one, honestly, especially since it's been a while since we just had the tank version. A new Galvatron on a smaller scale could be quite interesting and refreshing. And of course, the lawnmower again. But yeah, I would love a redo on the universe version that he's alluding to here. That would be really cool. Not as a deluxe though. Can we get it as a Voyager or Leader class this time around? I don't want to like repeat history with the terrible engineering and parts that we had on that original one. But that would be cool. Another question is, will more Pretender updates happen? He answers, Pretenders are a really complicated nut to crack, unfortunately. I know the scales were all over when we came up with merging the shells with the bots. Some liked it, some didn't. I've got some concepts I've thrown around for trying to really rebirth the shells to make sense, not too shabby ideas. Just gotta try to fit it in somehow. And, I mean, we've been hearing these answers with the Pretenders for a few years now. It sucks, but I guess that's just the reality Pretender fans gotta live in, which I know you're paying for Energon and stuff. Another question is, would you want to do a G1-fied movie characters like Blackout in the mainline? He answers yes. So, I mean, these would be cool to see, but in terms of my personal list of characters I want done, these are like at the bottom. Like, we're already getting accurate ones in Studio Series, Masterpiece, Third Party. I really don't need G1-ified versions. It feels a little bit repetitive, but I wouldn't mind seeing them either. There's some cool stuff they could do for sure. Another question is, are all of the new combiners going to have the frames? And he answers with, perfect question here. I think what people aren't realizing here is the frame gives the ability of the combiner to pose and articulate like all our figures now do. You need powerful joints and ratchets for posing big figures, and honestly, the framework allows for those capabilities you didn't have before with Combiner Wars attachments. The team is willing to bend on certain characters, which has been proven with Devastator, but honestly, it's all about the final look for me. If I can pose out Superion like a recent deluxe and it feels sturdy, strong, and solid, you won't get those features doing a non-framed system. That makes sense. I've been arguing for the framed system the last couple of years, so I do like this answer here. And another question is, are you interested in doing a new PREDAKING? He says, yes, always. Are you interested in doing the Micromaster Combiners too? He says, haven't thought about those. And another question is, Takara did a Masterpiece rated. Is he something you're interested in doing the mainline? And the answer is not. It's cool for sure, and I'm a train guy. It's just not on my wants right now. I mean, that doesn't give me much hope for the Bullet Train team, Rail Racer, but, I mean, never say never, I guess. They go on to ask some general toy questions. Are you interested in doing that made-to-order program for TFs like you're doing for Marvel? And he says, yeah, so that's nice to see. Hopefully we get more big characters from that program. Question here, could the Evergreen designs ever get full toys? And he answers with, I know I want that barricade design. That would be epic. That's like the Last Night version G1ified, which would be really cool. Will there be Cyberworld toys for older collectors like the Earthspark Deluxes? And he answers with, I don't have information on the future plans for Cyberworld toys, but I'm stoked I was able to do the Mega Bull design and get the Skybite car though. So hopefully we do get those Deluxes, but it's not looking good for those. Another question is, do you want to do more of the Izers in the future? He answers, yes, personally, I would love Insectinizers. Now, that is an idea I'm all for. Hopefully, we do get those Weaponizers back again. They've been taking a break the last, 2 years now? Another question, could Core Class return in the future? He answers, I love scale-accurate things. It's always on the table, so hopefully it does come back. I would really like some of those smaller characters to actually be done as a Core Class, so I'm not forced to pay $30 for a deluxe Core Class figure, you know? Another question is, on the subject of cores, could we see packs of them being sold as a deluxe, as in, let's say, 2 core figs in a deluxe package? He answers with, that's a great idea. We need that spitter. Oh boy, count me in for a spitter. That's a good idea. I would really love that, and it seems like he's open to it, so hopefully that happens sooner rather than later. Another question is there still interest in doing weapon/accessory packs? Mark answers, yes, I'd add with flight stands and blast effects, please. Yes, sir, he gets it. That's the ACBA/toy photography way. Let's see it done, Hasbro. Let's get that more out there. Another question is, will future timelines figs be original designs or keep being based on past stuff like Hearts of Steel? Mark answers, Evan Brooks always has good things up his sleeve. Stay tuned for those gems. Hopefully we get TRANSTECH and some other stuff from the timelines, like the fan pub comic designs and stuff. That would be really dope. Another question is, what kind of Japan crossovers would you like to do? Gundam, Macross, etc. He answers, Orgus, hands down my first go-to that I want. I'm gonna be real with you guys, I have no idea what Orgus is. I'm not, big into the Japan scene, so I don't know. Another question here is, are retools of collab molds into mainline stuff on the table? He says yes. I think we've already seen that with some of the collab stuff, I'm not sure, but this isn't a surprising answer. I mean, they make these all new molds. You would assume they would want to use them again at some point down the line. Another question here is, would TRANSTECH or Reactivate be things you'd be interested in doing as concept art figs? He answers, yes, anything you think is cool, you know I'm right there with you. So we've been getting this answer basically for the last 2 years, I think, for TRANSTECH in the concept art subline. So hopefully it comes true, just like the comic subline and the Gamer Edition stuff the last few years. I would love TRANSTECH, as y'all know on the channel. I talk about that pretty much monthly on the channel, so hopefully it happens. Another question here is, what other Hearts of Steel figs would you like to do? He says, Shockwave immediately. Yes, I would love Boat, Shockwave, yes please, as a leader class. Another question is, the Hot Wheels collabs look pretty slick. Will there be more in addition to those two? He answers, do you want more? What would be your dream iconic Hot Wheels vehicles turned into a Transformers bot? Shout out to Brian Parrish. He works on these. That Bone Shaker is sick. Yeah, I mean, I would love some more Hot Wheels stuff. Maybe the, what is that called? The monster truck? That would be really cool for me personally. And then we go on to get some HasLab questions. He asks, HasLabs have been leaning towards Japan characters. Is that intentional? Then Mark answers, Evan Brooks does those. He is a big Japanese Transformers fan. That makes sense. He seems like he's pretty big into that. So that's really cool. We're getting those thanks to Evan. Another question is, in general, what kind of things would you like to do with HasLabs in the future? He answers, I want a life-size working boombox that's a transformable blaster with real tape cassettes that have Transformers music on them, but they still convert into eject ram horn, etc. That would be insane. I actually could see them doing that one day, in 2035 or 2040 or something crazy, but definitely not anytime soon, I'd assume. Another question is there any interest in either a HasLab Unicron reissue or a whole new Unicron for the anniversary? He answers, Unicron nearly broke our lead engineer the first time around. I'd love to revisit it. It's such an iconic piece, but I'm not sure it's in the cards just yet. So, that makes sense. I mean, they just did the HasLab 6 years ago. They want it to feel special. They don't want to, dishonor the HasLab program and stuff. So I would assume a UNICRON doesn't come until like maybe the 45th anniversary of the 86 movie or something. Another question is the Lyokaiser Rescue Force repaint something you're interested in? He answers, of course. So I'm not surprised by that. It would be cool to see that repaint. Another question, is there a reason Lyokaiser is under Legacy and not AOTP? He answers, we decided to make Lyokaiser part of the Legacy mainly for branding reasons with HasLabs. A lot of fans tend to keep those figures in the box, which is a bit different from how most people collect the mainline figures. Since Victory Saber and Deathsaurus were both released under Legacy and all three are from the same series, it just made sense to keep that consistency. We really wanted them to feel like they're part of the same world. So that's nice. They were thinking about the packaging for collectors. But honestly, in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't really matter. Then goes on for a non-toy question. Are there still going to be live streams? You seem to have slowed down in favor of convention reveals. And he answers with, we love doing our live streams. Lately, we've been experimenting with different ways to connect with you all, and conventions are a part of that mix. That said, they're not a one-to-one replacement for the energy and direct interaction we get during live streams. There's a lot that goes into deciding the timing and format of those, but don't worry, we're just as eager to get back in front of you. Stay tuned. Exciting things are on the horizon. Yeah, we're getting that live stream, in a couple days at the time of this recording or something? And then a personal question, this is the last question. What is the one figure you'd most like to make? And he says, Thunderwing, easily. I would love to see a comic edition Thunderwing as a Commander class in Studio Series in the next couple years. That would be baller. But yeah, guys, that was a mouthful to read and talk about. But, you know, some of the stuff in here I'm not a big fan of, like the answer for Beast Machines and Energon. But everything else, a lot of this stuff sounds good to me. The future of Transformers is in good hands, it sounds like, with the Generations line. And I really do look forward to what else Mark and everybody else at Hasbro and Takara cook up. But yeah, guys, let me know down in the comments below what y'all think about this Q&A. And yeah, thank y'all for watching this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!